It's Wellness Wednesdays with Dr. Nancy, providing helpful tips on how to live your best life now. Hello, everyone. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Welcome to another episode. Today will not disappoint. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope your week has started out to a great start. And listen, for all you viewers and listeners that are not able to chime in on our live stream episode, you can always watch us on demand if you get to your smart device, smartphone, and type in the number 26786, and the keyword is DRNANCY. And you can binge watch all of the episodes of Wellness Wednesdays with various topics of all things that are helpful tips on how to live your best life now. So there's no better time than the present, and there are no excuses. The time is today. The time is now. So without further ado, I would love for you all to get to know my special guest, Shavell Gounod. She is a real estate developer and a lawyer, and I termed the title as the female housing developer because she's making some history here in Arizona, everyone. She is the youngest, first African-American female real estate developer in our state here of Arizona. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And there's another congratulations in order as well. You've been featured in Bold Journey magazine to tell the readers a little bit about how you developed this passion to continue to be a public servant and, just in delving into the community to figure out what their needs are to match up with your passion.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Dr. Nancy. What an amazing introduction that you've led on. So I hope all your viewers are excited as I am to sit here to discuss real estate and development in the state of Arizona. And so my passion for just providing housing for low-income families and families who are most vulnerable in our society stemmed from childhood, honestly. Mm-hmm. I came from meager means. I lived in a low-income household that I'm very proud of. My mom worked multiple jobs to make sure that we were well taken care of. And so some of the things that, in my childhood I recall doing was driving down these beautiful tree-lined neighborhoods. And so I used to say, wow, what beautiful homes these are. And, everyone deserves a home. And I just remember saying that to myself, like, everyone deserves a home to live in. And so as I continue to grow and progress in my career, I've always volunteered in, housing programs, served on various housing commissions and housing boards, from Houston, Texas, California, Arizona. And, at the end of the day, it's if you are in a position to lend a hand to people, why would you not? Why would you question that? Or why would you slow down? And so my passion stemmed from a childhood, and to be able to work hard and bring that into realization, it's absolutely a dream come true for me. And I hope that all the families that we provide housing for, it's a dream for them.
Yes, so Shavell, that's an excellent story, really filled with a lot of passion. Started with your childhood, and you felt like, wow, everybody should be able to afford luxury homes that are not exorbitantly expensive as well, right? So tell us a little bit about how you initially got your start as, a landlord for multifamily homes, and it's just evolved into this wonderful, wonderful enterprise.
Yes, of course. So as I mentioned before, I served on housing and homeless boards. I've worked in various nonprofits that dedicated to ending or breaking the cycle of homelessness. And so most people spend about 80% of their income on housing. And so when you start questioning whether you have to pay your rent or keep the lights on or put food on the table. It really goes into the housing insecurity, the housing crisis, the food insecurity, plus energy. And so what we do is we build ground up housing that are energy efficient, that are sustainable, they use solar, so we can help families save on those bills and not have to worry about what bill they need to take care of first. And so I spent over a decade in housing services and working at nonprofits such as Destination Homes, Silicon Valley in San Jose, California. And, being a landlord, all of our properties are either below market rate. So we can rent houses for, 2,900. We won't go over 2,000 because we want to make sure, again, we want to serve our audience and making sure everyone has a home. And so being able to work in an environment to see that there's a need, if people are off the streets and into a house that's affordable for them, then it saves policing, it saves healthcare, we help save the social, or we help create an environment where we have a sense of community for our families. And
That's
so I
exactly
think
right.
that we are able to do our part to society, and that brings great joy. And so, being working in housing and homelessness for over a decade, I've seen how different or various situations can exacerbate homelessness. And so we just want to be solution focused and have a holistic approach. So everything that we do is truly dedicated to providing dignity for our families, to providing respect for our families, and to ensuring that they have a safe, stable place to live.
Those are excellent points. I mean, solution focused, dignity, peace of mind,
Mhm.
pride. I mean, the American dream really is to own a home. And so you've transitioned out of, working with nonprofits and community leaders with homelessness and affordable housing, have been a landlord, and then you've evolved into a real estate developer. You're like, there's more. There's more that I can do, and to provide access to luxury homes that aren't 80% of a person's income, so they can live comfortably and confidently and proud of where they live. So let's transition into Mecca Energy and what that is all about in terms of vertical integration. Because, Shavell, when we first met, it was just so aligned and synergistically. I could see a lot of what you were doing, and your passion and the heart that you have for what you do. And I said, I have to get you on the show. I'd like to spend more time with you as well, because, really, when you interact with an individual, it's an energy exchange and
Mhm.
a purpose or a passion that you have. You come from a holistic point of view, and be solution driven and oriented, so that the outcomes are so much more optimal and impactful. So tell us a little bit about Mecca Energies.
Yes, I love to. Thank you, Dr. Nancy. So, Mecca in this sense is where a gathering, where like minded individuals, people, property come together. And so, when I think about creating a holistic approach to providing housing, I think about, okay, if the utilities are such and such, or if the utilities are so expensive that they can't afford their rent, then are we doing what our core value system upholds? And so Mecca Energy is the bridge between sustainability, energy efficiency, and housing development. And so having this vertical integration where Mecca Energy is able to not only own the development, but own the architectural behind the designs, own the construction company so that we're hiring people who align with our core values and our mission. We are able to make sure that we are bringing in people who are within, creating more jobs. And so being able to do the design, the development, the construction, the energy efficiency to provide the services, it creates that holistic support that a person or a family may need so that they can be successful, so that they can focus on creating financial stability, so that they can make the American dream, whatever their dream is, come to reality, just like mine did with Mecca Energy. And so being able to have that vertical integration where we can have dominion over all aspects of development helps us make sure that we are steadfast, we're focused, and we're grounded. And it's so important that, there's a lot of things that go in behind the scenes of going from, blank dirt to a full housing community. And so, I just want to speak a little bit about like where the transition from landlord into the development aspect came from. And so, like I mentioned earlier, we own several different properties around the West Coast, and we always make sure that we rent at a below market rate because that's really important to us. And recently, we had our firstborn daughter who passed at birth, and it was very challenging for me mentally, emotionally. And I remember my husband holding our daughter and saying, "How did your house collapse on you?" And it was in that moment, which was painful, yet so profound and powerful, in saying, we've done what we can do by buying houses, rehabbing houses, but we haven't built housing from the ground up to where we can create everything that we view as important. And so I was able to find joy in bringing those housing to families that can afford it. And so we focus on luxury cottages. And some people may think that that's like, it conflicts. How can you have luxury as well as a cottage, which is a smaller home? And our thought process is we focus on financial freedom so people aren't stretched. And when you think about financial freedom, that's the ultimate luxury because now you can dictate how your time is spent on this earth. And so we were really able to turn our pain into power. And those are the things that, we were able to highlight in Bold Journey. And so while we were, yeah, so thank you, Dr. Nancy. So while we were going through difficulties, we still had at the forefront of our mind, there are families who have difficulties that are still living. And how can we bring in some of that positive energy to create things that are lasting for people?
That's exactly right. Pain into power and building something, right? Owning something. You can only be in one room at one time. I can tell you that having larger structures, having something smaller sometimes seems to be so much more practical, right? And then, the smart homes and the utility of how you've integrated all the services that are all encompassing a part of from the ground level of the development of the tiny cottages is so efficient, cost effective. And then you have that alignment of everybody as well too, because then you're not contracting everybody and you don't really know what they are, really credibility really is the key. And so you have this sense of community and family too, building these tiny homes. So I love that idea as well. So tell us where your first development is in the state.
Yes, so our first development is going to be in Eloy. Eloy, Arizona is centrally located. It's 50 minutes to downtown Phoenix and 50 minutes to downtown Tucson. And some neighboring cities such as Casa Grande or Coolidge are some, more popular cities, but it's right in the center of all the action off the I-10. And so we hit semi contractors, Lucid Motors, recently bought several acres in the city. Nikola Motors bought several acres in the city. The first hospital is being opened 2 minutes walking distance from the location. And so we're extremely excited to bring in a community development. It's the first of its kind. So we are still going through the city council process, which will be held next week, Monday, February 12th. And fingers are crossed that we can get this approval, and that will be the last step so we can break ground and continue to move forward. But we have galvanized so much community support. There's such a need for people who are working class families that need housing, teachers, firefighters, the people who run and operate the manufacturing plant. So our goal is to make sure that we're satisfying all those hardworking people that have, that need a place to live and can stay where they are and not be pushed out by overpriced communities.
Well, what a wonderful idea. What a wonderful idea to give back to the community that is living in and developing that area because, as many of you all know, Arizona is growing and Eloy is not exempt. And I love the idea of giving back in such a way. So tell us a little bit about the features of the home outside of them being smart technology and then, affordability and do you work with lenders as well? Those kinds of things.
Yes, of course. Thank you for asking. So we are building 6 3-bedroom, 2 baths. There will be one ADA compliant unit, which is a 1-bedroom, 1 bath, and then a clubhouse, all centrally located within this a little over a half an acre. And so there will be an outdoor fire pit where people can gather with their family and friends. And there will be a clubhouse, which will include a petite cafe, because once again, if the parents are working, we want to have a safe place where the kids can come grab a bite to eat before school and after school. And so there will be a gym in there as well. There will be like a leasing office with a nonprofit that can help provide additional services for the families. So we really pride ourselves in modern features. It's if I may say, I may be a little biased, but it's absolutely stunning and gorgeous modern home that's about 900 square feet for our 3-bedroom, 2 bath. And so we know that tiny living doesn't mean that you want to have shortcuts or you want to feel on top of one another or crowded. So what we've done was we've utilized all the spaces around our housing. Under the stairs, it's a 2-story. So the stairs will have extra storage space. There will be indoor, outdoor living with a backyard. Each house will have a backyard. And then you have those outdoor community spaces with the fire pit and the clubhouse. And so once again, we are trying to create a holistic approach to what it means to have a sense of community and to be a good neighbor.
Well, I love that idea too, because, there's a lot of builders and homes that don't have functional space.
Yeah.
Thought of all of that because I mean I moved out to Arizona and I came from the East Coast and there's like finished basements, you have a lot of storage. But not a lot of that out here. But then there's tall, high ceilings, and a lot of the space is not functional. So I like the idea of how you've kind of thought of it all through that development architectural phase, and all of that space is utilized indoor and outdoor. And then what's the name of the community in Eloy? How does individuals get a hold of you?
So this project is Autumn Cottages at Eloy, and it is named after our firstborn daughter, Autumn. And so this is to honor her legacy and her time and her presence with us. And, I am available via email. I'm available, by cell, as well as, I'm always out in the community. I was just walking the community, conversing with all the business owners this week for about 2 to 3 hours, because once again, it's not just about developing, it's really about creating that sense of community. And if you're not willing to put yourself out there to be within the community, then, once again, that may not align with our core values. So not only do we do it, but we walk it how we talk it. And so we are really excited to bring forth this development in Eloy, Arizona. we work very closely with the Pinal County Housing Authority. It is located in Pinal County. And so we're working to move families off their waiting list and into the housing. We work closely with local realtors. We are working closely with families who previously have been in need of housing that are on the construction team. So we really, really, really make sure that we integrate all aspects of creating the community in which we all want to live, work, and be proud of.
Well, it sounds like you've thought of everything. There's a couple more questions too. And after this particular community is erected, is there plans for more is my one question. And then two, how does a person qualify? You want to get individuals off the waiting list, and then, there's individual employed personnel that work in the community and want to live in the community, like those kinds of things.
Yes, of course. Thank you for asking. So, in order to qualify, it's through Housing Choice Voucher, which is formerly known as Section 8. And so, like I mentioned earlier, when I was growing up in low income, I knew what it was like to live in environments that weren't most ideal, that may not have been safe. And so, what I want to do is to make sure that we create housing where people are safe. And so they would have to work with their caseworker with the Pinal County Housing Authority to be on the waiting list. So there's different criteria, which is backed by the Federal Housing Urban Development Department, the HUD. So we work very closely with the government to make sure that we are providing families a safe place to live. If you're interested in just applying outright, we do have our website in which we have our property management company. So we make sure that we manage the property from landscaping all the way down to, the architectural design. And those are the things that make us most excited. So if you're interested in applying, you're more than welcome to look at our website, and there will be a link that you can apply.
What's your website?
It's www.gounodestates.com. My last name is Gounod. I know it's on the screen, but I want you all to be able to find us online as well.
Very good. And then future projects on the horizon.
Yes, we're really excited. We purchased 20 acres that is in Eloy as well. And so we're definitely looking at how we can develop a master community on the property. I'm looking in Tucson to work very closely with the Tucson IDA program, possibly to actually scale. So now that we know what the design can be, what the capacity is, how can we take this and grow this? How can we duplicate this exact project in different cities around Arizona? And so Tucson and Phoenix are our focus area. But right now we're looking at Eloy because we truly believe in that city. We think that it's certainly up and coming. And what better way to make sure that you're a part of the revitalization of a city near you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. There's one last question to you, Shavell. And if individuals were interested in coming to your development company to consider a custom-made home outside of a tiny luxury community cottage, is that something that you also entertain?
We're definitely open to it. Right now, we want to make sure that we're sticking with our niche and that we're becoming exceptional at what we do within this sector of providing luxury cottages and tiny homes. But we certainly have the capacity to do more, and we certainly welcome anyone who is interested in either renovating their homes, designing a home, purchasing land. We're here to help you and to guide you and be a thought partner in that space.
And I'm sure it really adds value as being, having your lawyer degree as well has helped you finagle through a lot of the paperwork and the processes on your journey to becoming the real estate developer.
Yes, I've always worked full time. I put myself through undergraduate school at HBCU. Shout out to Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas. While I was going to college and getting my undergraduate, I worked at the sheriff's department, and I'd be working overnight. I would be doing homework the top of the morning all the way burning the midnight oil. And I was able to translate those skills into acquiring my law degree while still working full time in housing and homelessness at various nonprofits. And so being able to take that resiliency and that tenacity, it really has been able to help provide the strength to not only execute on what my passion is, but to be encouraging to others. Like, you can do it. We're all given the same 24 hours in the day. And so I view the hours that any day that I wake up, it's a blessing that, I don't take lightly. So if God found it that I'm here on this planet, I want to make sure I'm utilizing every hour possible to walk in my purpose.
That's great. God is in the midst of it all.
Yes.
All the time. Shavell, it's been so wonderful to have you on the show. Are there any last affirmations or something that you want to leave the viewers and listeners with today before we sign off?
Be you. And whatever brings your heart joy is truly where you're supposed to be. And so make sure you're pouring into yourself as you're pouring into others. And so find those moments of joy, create those moments of joy. Don't shy away from those moments of joy and live in the present. And that's just about it.
That's it. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week with another episode on Wellness Wednesdays. Listen, have a great rest of the week, and we are going to sign off for now. Bye.
Thank you all so much. Bye.